And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the HS360 Podcast. This is take 2. My disc was almost full, so I had to cut, but, we're going to continue. We're going to be talking about the Super Bowl and the FCFL, and maybe we may have a final topic. You'll never know. We're going to be talking mainly about the Super Bowl and the FCFL. If you do not know what the FCFL is, it's a new football league coming in. And, they're doing their draft tonight, so I was going to talk more about them. But first of all, to talk about the Super Bowl, we're going to get into it. And let's get right into it. Okay, so the Chiefs are coming in here. They came in as the heavy favorites. It was really interesting. It was awesome, and the Chiefs really did do some really great things this season, but it didn't hold up. They ended up, as you know, failing. So the Buccaneers won 31-9, and I'll talk more about this when I do my Super Bowl preview tonight. But it was really interesting. It's going to be something. And we're going to have to look at, what's going to happen. And Tom Brady, he came into this. It showed, but what I wanted to talk about really is it showed Mahomes' skill. The Super Bowl may have not showed that Mahomes, may have shined badly on Mahomes. But if you look back at some of the plays Mahomes was making, he was dunking under guys, he was running, he was just really, really good at getting away from the pressure. And he was throwing darts down the line. I mean, his receivers could very well have caught, and, they were heavy coverage. So, there were some throws that he had no choice to do but throw it away. But he really did show that he can do something. That he win or lose is a really good dude. And it also shows on the fact that the Chiefs, the last time the Chiefs had a game that they scored no touchdowns on was in 2017. Actually, I believe it was November 9th, 2017. I believe. It was really interesting. Let me see. Get back here. Yeah, I believe they played against the Giants. Yeah, I believe it was November 18th, it may have been. Or 19th. 19th, I think. November 19th, 2017. They played the Giants. And it was really interesting. And so the Giants ended up beating the Chiefs on November 19, 2017, 12-9 in a thriller of a game. It was in overtime. The game went to overtime. The Giants had one touchdown. So the game pretty much went where the first quarter was scoreless. Then in the second quarter, the Chiefs had a field goal. The Giants, I believe, had a touchdown. I believe that they missed the field goal on, or they missed a 2-point conversion on. I don't know. And then third quarter went scoreless, and then the Kansas City Chiefs had 2 field goals in the fourth, and the Giants had a field goal, made it 9-9, heading into overtime. And then the Giants scored a field goal and won 12-9. And that was nuts. And that was the game. And it was crazy. It was a crazy game. And the Chiefs, this game in the Super Bowl was really interesting. Super Bowl LV 55 was super weird and super interesting. I think everybody didn't like the fact that it was super interesting and weird. Mahomes, if you see this, 26 for 49, 270 yards, 2 interceptions. Now, it's really hard to throw 270 yards when you're getting pressured every time. And I swear, it's something that it shows Mahomes' skill. And, the 2 interceptions were just bad throws, and, Buccaneers, they get a win here. Overall, the Chiefs had a better season than the Buccaneers. You know that. The Buccaneers finished 15-5 with the playoffs. The Chiefs finished 16-3 with the playoffs. And, the Chiefs had the overall better total yards. It was nuts. They had, I believe, 350 yards, while the Buccaneers only had 250. Just some great performances there from the Buccaneers defense. The Buccaneers defense is not going away. They're not stopping. This Buccaneers team isn't going away at the same time. Brady, he wants to play for at least another probably 3 years. Gronk wants to play with him for another 3 years, so I think that this is going to be interesting. Gronk's going to be there for the next 1 or 2 years, while Brady's going to be there for the next 2 to 3 years. And so, some interesting things coming from the game. Rob Gronkowski, he only had 67 yards, but had 2 touchdowns, obviously. And, it was great to see Antonio Brown get a touchdown. I've wanted to see him succeed and win a Super Bowl before. And, I'm happy that he succeeded and won a Super Bowl. Same with Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones Jr., both USC, Ronald Jones Jr., the second, he's a USC guy. You get some great guys on the defense. You got Devin White, who's, I believe, 22 years old. He's not going away anytime soon. Same with Antonio Winfield Jr. He's not going away either soon. Sean Murphy-Bunting, I believe, most of the defense isn't going away. Vita Vea, it's going to really be interesting. Because, Murphy Bunting, he's 23 years old. They've built off of draft guys, and look at this. Half their best defense guys have definitely been draft guys. Jason Pierre-Paul, he is going to be something. He's going to be something to watch. He's awesome. He's only 32 years old. Obviously, he may not be with the team for as long as the other defensive players, but he is going to be really good. We look at Carlton Davis, guys like Carlton Davis, I believe, who was drafted, and Jordan Whitehead, guys that are absolutely insane at their position. And, but you also look at the veterans they have. I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this name. Nadem Mukon Su, who's there. He's good. Obviously, Pierre-Paul. They've got some really good veterans that mix in well with the young guys and end up creating some great things. And I think that I look forward to whatever happens in the future. Obviously, the defensive highlight of the game was, probably the Devin White interception that pretty much held the Chiefs from a touchdown and, gave the Buccaneers a seal of approval for a win. What I wanted to do in this was I wanted to talk more... Sorry. What I wanted to do in this was talk a little bit more about... Sorry about that. That was my thing malfunctioned. I don't know why. I wanted to talk more about what has happened in the Super Bowls the Super Bowl's at Raymond James, because Raymond James Stadium have been interesting. Raymond James Stadium's games have been extremely interesting, as I said. And, the Super Bowls that have been there are none other than the weirdest endings ever. And, the pirate ship is known for, the pirate ship is the best thing known for it. They've had 3 Super Bowl games there. They've also had playoff games there. But they have the main 3 Super Bowl games they've had were in 2000 between the Ravens and the Giants, in which the Ravens beat the Giants 34-7. 2008 Super Bowl 43 ended up, or 2009 Super Bowl. Well, the season was 2009. The game was in 2000. The season was 2008. The game was in 2009. Was obviously the Steelers and the Cardinals, which was amazing. And then Super Bowl 55. And I can understand why they chose Raymond James Stadium. It looks a lot like Levi. I believe Levi Stadium was kind of built on Raymond James Stadium's design. And then we have, obviously the Super Bowl. So you see some really odd games there. You see some interesting games. And obviously this thing can hold up to, I think 75,000 people when expanded. It's crazy, the stadium attendance. And, with this one, they only got 24,000. They could only have 38%. And it's nuts. I mean, you got this stadium that has really good sound system, has, a lot of screens that they can use. And they've also got, they've got some prime places. Obviously there's not been that much, but they had the College Football Playoff National Championship there on January 9th in 2017, where Clemson beat Alabama, and that attendance honed in more than they've had at any college football game there and any Super Bowl there, which was 74,512. They've also had men's international soccer there, in which they got the highest attendance from the United States-Ecuador game, the international friendly, on March 25th, 2007, when the U.S. beat Ecuador 3-1, 31. Well, it's actually Colombia-U.S. team, which was back in October of 2018, October 11th. It was an international friendly where the U.S. lost to Colombia 4-2, and it was 38,000 people arrived. They've also hosted USF games, not USF as in San Francisco, but USF games as in South Florida. South Florida has has played 4 home games there in the season. The first one in 2017 on September 28th, 2017, when they had a really good season. They beat West Virginia, who was number 5 ranked at the time, while they were number 18 ranked. 21-13, and then later in that year, on October 13, 2007, they beat UCF 64-12, while they were ranked 5th in the nation. The 2 other games were in 2009, where they lost to Miami, the number 19 ranked Miami Hurricanes, 31-10, and in 2012, when they lost to Florida State, 30-17. These games are absolutely amazing, and, the highest thing that Tampa Bay's held would be the divisional. Back in 2002 and in 1999, they hosted divisionals in which Tampa Bay both won, and then they hosted wild card games in 2005 and 2007, in which Tampa Bay both lost. It was very interesting. It's been very interesting. The stadium is super cool, I can say that. And I hope so. I look forward to it. Right now, I'll try and flash something up on the screen around 13:40, something like that. I'll flash the new Super Bowl. When I talk about Raymond James Stadium, I'll flash a Raymond James Stadium icon on there, like the stadium. And then when I talk about this, I'll show the new LVI Super Bowl, which is the first time that I think is going to be interesting. Obviously, we've got some crazy games. 2024 is going to be, this 2024 Super Bowl is going to be at Mercedes-Benz. Super Bowl LVI Super Bowl, the next year's Super Bowl, is going to, they've released a logo for it. It's a super cool logo. And I'll flash that up there, and it's going to be at SoFi Stadium. Super Bowl, I believe, LVII, so 57, will... Oh, it is going to be held at State Farm. I thought it was going to be held at Lucas Oil. Maybe that's Super Bowl... 50. Maybe that's Super Bowl 59. Let me see. LV. Oh no, it's not LV. It's LIX, right? Yeah, LIX, right? I think, yeah. Yeah, Super Bowl 59 is going to be held at, Mercedes-Benz Superdome. That can't be because the last one is going to be, no, I think it's going to be held at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. It's going to be very interesting. I love Super Bowl host cities. They're very interesting. But ladies and gentlemen, on to our next one. We're going to be talking about the FCF L, obviously. We're going to be talking about them. My team is the Zappers. If you go on to their website, you can't look at all the teams. You have to pick a team. So I started a thing, fcf.io. That is their website, which sounds like a game name, but no, it's not. It's something like that. So Johnny Manziel, he's going to play for the Zappers, and it's called fan-controlled football. So the fans get to control everything. So they get to control what happens. They don't get to control, obviously, what happens. They get to control who. So, like, Johnny Manziel, I think they probably put up a poll, like, who's Johnny Manziel going to play for? And so they chose the Zappers. The teams are owned by popular people. Obviously, the teams being the Glacier Boys, I believe, hosted by a guy destroying Zappers. I believe there's a major league pitcher and Bob Menery behind it. Beast, it's owned by, I believe it's really interesting. The teams, okay, so the Glacier Boys are Quavo, Richard Sherman and Destroying. The Zappers are owned by Bob Menery and Trevor May. The Beasts are owned by Marshawn Lynch, Renee Montgomery, and Miro. And then the Wild Aces are owned by Greg Miller and Austin Eckler and Jack Settleman. The Zappers are very interesting. They're pretty good. We're going to look at, so the Zappers, I believe, because they got Johnny Manziel, are drafting last today. It's going to be very interesting. So they're choosing, you get to choose what the coaches wear. It's very interesting. You get to choose everything. Obviously, the first game that kicks off, these games are hosted on Twitch at their Twitch channel. I can put in the description, I believe. Glacier Boys versus Wild Aces at 5 p.m. Pacific time will be the game on the 13th of February. I'm going to try to watch that. It's so the fans got to control what stadium they do, how they run the league. So it's going to be a 50-yard field. It's arena. It's in an arena. It's not it's an artificial turf stadium. And I think next year they get to re-choose. You get to re-choose what's going to happen. And so all these guys get a home city, but they're not really playing in that home city. I believe they're playing in they're playing in a weird play. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I have no clue what's going to happen. Let me see. What is this? The stores, if you go to the store, they've got their stuff is run by Champion. It looks like some stuff that the Pro Bowlers would wear. This is obviously some XFL stuff. I don't know what their football is. Wilson football is a Wilson football. It's very interesting. They've got some good stuff there. I mean, they have they're really interesting. Their team is really interesting, and we're gonna look at. I mean, they've been streaming practices live. They run this thing. It's power. This whole thing is run by the motto "Power to the Fans," and they run it out of LA. It's coming in here, and so I mean it is nuts. It's gonna be nuts. Football. Do I think that fan-controlled football is going to last? Yeah, I think in its own way, because it's not going to rival the NFL. If they start getting some heavy, if they start getting some heavy, like, watch time, like the XFL and some people like watching the AAF, like the first night got like tuned in like so much, and then like the last few nights were like tuned in so little. It's really interesting. It's going to be, I think that this is going to be nuts? Yeah. I think that they're going to start picking up some viewership, and that's when the NFL is going to look to smite them down. The NFL, they love working on this, and you get to like call some of these plays, and you can choose like 2, 3. They had scrimmages on the 3rd, the 5th, the 6th, and 2 scrimmages on the 6th. They called them beta tests. It's more to bring in football in a more digital way, as I was saying. Some really interesting things going out there, and I think that this may work. It may work. I personally am a fan of the Zappers. I like Bob Menery. I like Trevor May. I think both guys are good, and I kind of want to see Johnny Manziel succeed. I also want to see him play. Because it's really interesting. It's gonna be super weird. And it's basically we get to control the whole thing, as I've said. We get to choose the stuff. We get to choose. It's mainly like if when you're playing football or when you're watching football and you're yelling through the screen, pass the ball to the right, pass the ball to the right. Why didn't they run this play? That's basically what it is. It's so you can actually do something, and they wanted to do it, and this is going to be interesting. And I believe they did it. They did a version last year, with like a digital version. I don't know. They did like a scrimmage or a simulation, I believe, last year to make sure it worked, and it did work. And so, as you know, this Saturday they're running their first thing. So this is going to be interesting, ladies and gentlemen. But I've left out this last 8 minutes of this thing for, for the Premier League. It is going to be interesting. We are going to be talking about really just looking over the Premier League, as I've said. I really like looking over the Premier League here, and I'm a big Premier League fan, so I was just going to look here. We're going to look interesting. And, and let's take a look. Also, USF's has played today, so by the time you're viewing it, they should be over, but I'll talk more about them in the next episode. Also, in the future, you will, I think, either tomorrow or tonight, you're going to see a video pop up that's going to be me talking about, I did the mock draft, so I'm going to talk about them while doing my mock draft. So obviously right now, Man City is playing Swansea. It's probably ended in the FA Cup. Man City's beating them 3-0. But, it's going to be interesting. Let's head to the Premier League. So the Premier League has gone insane. Liverpool, getting off their almost perfect season last year, has really dropped. They are 10 points behind the lead. There's 3 points behind Leicester City. They could not be appearing in the Champions League if Chelsea or West Ham can keep up the good work and stop them. I prefer West Ham United than Chelsea. I'm an Arsenal fan, you know it. If I could prefer anybody, I'd prefer Arsenal getting up there, but it does not look like that right now, as Arsenal is 9-4-10 with 31 points. Leeds United has climbed. They're going to be in the Premier League in the future. The 3 teams right now facing, obviously, a relegation, which right now looks like it's going to happen, is Sheffield, West Bromwich Albion, and obviously Fulham. But as I've said, Wolverhampton has, in the second half here, they've really dropped off. They're back to where Arsenal used to be. Arsenal's there. The table the table is really interesting, ladies and gentlemen. I have to say, you should go check it out. Wolverhampton has dropped to 14. Newcastle's at 16, but they have 25 points, so they should avoid relegation. Arsenal, I think, is definitely going to avoid relegation. They have 31 points. Manchester City and Manchester United at the top here. City with 50 points, sitting at 15, 5, and 2, which is a pretty good season. And Manchester United being at 45 points with 13 wins, 6 draws, and 4 losses. Leicester is in third. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the city's name. 13, 4, and 6. That's the only thing that separates them from Manchester United, is the numbers are switched on their draws and losses. Leicester is pretty good. Southampton is a team that has been pummeled the 9-0 a lot. They're obviously eight goals deep. They have 29 points. They're battling Crystal Palace, who is 12 goals deep. And so I think Southampton's going to avoid relegation. They're 8, 5, and 9. They actually have no, they don't, because Arsenal doesn't. Leeds has a pretty decent season. They're 10, 2, and 10. They've got 32 points. They're having a good return to the Premier League. Aston Villa, they've really recovered. 11, 2, and 8. Everton, they have fell since Boxing Day, obviously, was the last time I did something Premier League related. So is Tottenham. But if you look at it right now, Chelsea has fallen, and also Liverpool. I said that Manchester United and Leicester City are the best teams in the Premier League, but I obviously left out Manchester City. Do I think that Liverpool is going to find their way back in so that they do make the Champions League next year? I think they will. If not, they're playing the Europa League and they're going to inevitably win it. I think West Ham United's going to be able to get into the Europa League by finishing 5th. I think my top 5 I think it ends in May, so my top 5, I think my predicted top 5 from here is going to be Man U at number 1, Man City at number 2, Leicester at number 3, Liverpool at 4, and the West Ham at 5. Chelsea will be dropped to 7, and Everton will be at 6. And Tottenham will be where they are. Arsenal will drop to 13, I think. It's going to be interesting. I want Arsenal to succeed a lot, but I don't know about this season. I think we need to look at it. We need to get Martin Odegaard on the pitch more, and it's going to be interesting. This has been the Hugo Sports 360 podcast. Have a great day. I'm Hugo Traverso. Also, leave it in the comments down below what you want me to talk about next, and we'll talk about it. Have a great day. I'm Hugo Traverso.